Today we are staying on the topic of foreign languages and we are diving into the lyrics of Hamilton the musical. And more specifically, not just the original Hamilton, but also the German translation. We're going to look at both of them together and see which one's better. So in case you didn't know, Hamilton is a musical about one of the founding fathers of America, Alexander Hamilton, as the name suggests. And it is a sort of wrapped, very modern type of musical, and it has been recently, although not so recently, translated into German. So actually Lin Manuel Miranda, who created the original Hamilton musical, he had a lot to do with the translation. He didn't translate it himself, obviously, he doesn't speak German, but he really was involved in the whole process, making sure that things are as true to the original as possible. So yeah, first things first, obviously the German translation is good. It wouldn't exist, it wouldn't be, performed on stage, it wouldn't be greenlit if it weren't good. So I thought today, as Eliza, I could look at the German translation and compare it to the English original, just kind of, do a little bit of a deep dive into the lyrics. Of course, these are just my opinions, my thoughts on the whole thing. Don't take them too seriously, and feel free to contribute yours in the comments. If you speak German, if German is your native tongue, or if you learned it in school or wherever, tell me what do you think about both versions, not translations. I speak both English and German, but neither of them are my native languages. They are both foreign languages to me. So the way this video will work, I will put on screen the English original, the German translation, and the direct translation of the German version. So we'll be able to look at them side by side, and also I'll of course play the clip. We'll be looking at the first song, Alexander Hamilton, the title song, because that's the only one that, to my knowledge at least, has been published in full on YouTube legally. There are some tidbits of other songs in the musical, but it's usually just like a little sampler, like half a minute or so. So yes, we're looking at Alexander Hamilton, and I'll play the clip first, the German version, and then we will compare the original to the translation, look at a little bit of the rhyme scheme, a little bit of the words, which words were used, how they navigated the whole thing. So if that sounds fun to you, welcome aboard and let's go.
Wie wird zum Bastard bald, der bloß aus dem Schoß eine Dirne kroch, aus nem gottverdammten verlorenen Loch in der Karibik, ohne Titel, ohne Mittel, ohne Werte, am Ende doch ein Held und ein Gelehrter.
Okay, so the first verse is here. First impressions, it sounds really nice. It's got the whole rhythm going. You can also see that they try to maintain a lot of the alliteration, a lot of similar sounds repeating. They may not be the same as in English, but you have that kind of like the B in the beginning, and then there's the V. They tried also to make sure to stay true to the rhyme scheme. It's not exactly, I don't think all the internal rhymes are still there where they're supposed to be, but obviously that's really difficult and it's not 100% necessary. I mean, you can totally get away with it without staying completely true to every single rhyme scheme, and I think it's still very good. And you have that kind of Titel, Mittel, Werte, and then they're rhyming Werte with Gelehrte, values with scholar. But in terms of meaning, it's a little bit strange to me that they would go for the word values, Werte, which is, they're saying that Alexander was like without a title, without means to get by, and without values, which is it comes across as strange at first glance, because that was kind of his whole thing, his drive, his desire to make America, to help America become independent. So, I don't know, I wouldn't exactly say that he didn't have values. It depends on how you interpret them, I guess. But it just stands out to me a little bit. And also the first line in German, it's kind of aggressively... the English version is much more tame. So yeah, very graphic. But overall, I think it's a very, very nice verse. And like I said, phonetically, it sounds really good and close to the original.
$10, Gründervater, ganz ohne Vater, war ein Weltplaner, war hungrig und strebsamer, war einfach ein Tick smarter, war ein echter Durchstarter und schon Chef einer Handelsfirma, als er 14 Jahre war.
Okay, second verse. Interesting. What I love about the original, though, is the whole rhyme that actually, there's the same sort of rhyme weaving its way through the whole verse. Father, father, farther, harder, smarter, starter, charter, and then it actually continues into the second verse as well, or the third one rather, into Lafayette's verse. So it's really cool, and they did try to kind of preserve that. Obviously, it's really impossible, or it would be incredibly difficult to find a word that would really be, that would work the same way, and that you could completely weave it throughout the translation as well. But overall, yeah, it also sounds pretty good. I can see that they tried to use a little bit of alliteration. For example, this one in the original, it's by being a lot smarter, by being a self-starter, by 14. So you have the by repeating in the beginning. And in German you have war hungrig und strebsamer, war einfach ein Tick smarter, war ein echter Durchstarter, and so on. Weltplaner even. And I love the Durchstarter und schon Chef, which has the same, the sh sound that is almost the same as to the change in charge of a trading charter, right? You also have the ch, in charge of a trading charter, Durchstarter und schon Chef. Okay, yeah, it's nice. It's not exactly in the same place, but really nice little detail. And they kind of went with the G sound in the beginning, Grundvater ganz ohne Vater, because in the original we have f, right? Founding father without a father, got a lot father by working, okay, and so on. The only thing that kind of sticks out to me here is the Handelsfirma, which to my foreign ear sounds kind of very modern. I don't know, let me know if there's another sort of more archaic expression that could perhaps be used. Maybe it wouldn't work here. Did they rhyme Firma with anything? Firma war, maybe, kind of a semi-rhyme, half-rhyme. Because charter, especially, charter sounds a little bit more archaic in English. And Hamilton does use a lot of modern vocabulary, modern words throughout the play. But I don't think, I don't know, this one kind of stands out to me. Let me know if it really is such a modern expression or if that's just me.
Und täglich sah wie sie Sklaven schlachten, verfrachten wie Vieh, aber schwieg und zeigte nie, was dachte. In ihm wuchs der Wunsch bei was Größerem mitzumachen, der Bruder hätte gebettelt, geräubert für seine Sache.
Okay, I love it here that they really put an emphasis on the V sound. Die Sklaven schlachten, verfrachten wie, aber schwieg und zeigte nie, was dachte. Oh, it continues. In ihm wuchs der Wunsch. Okay, so you kind of really go full on in that V sound. And that's very similar to the original. And every day while slaves were being slaughtered and carted away across the waves. Or it weaves its way again through the text. And you also have the waves and away rhyming in the original, which is echoed by the V and schwieg. The wieg, schwieg, and even nie. So that's awesome. And that's the line that I was talking about, how the father, charter continues into carted, gotteb, potted, smarter. So it really is that whole complete, like it's a rhyme that flows through two verses, which is really hard it would be incredibly hard to achieve that in the translation. But they still did it really well here. They have Schachten, verfrachten, mitzumachen, Sachen. Yeah, it works really well. Phonetically, really nice. Is there anything else? Okay, so the original also has the brother was ready to beg, steal, borrow, or barter. So you kind of have the b sound repeating itself, the alliteration here. They try to achieve it. It's not exactly there, but still really good. I mean, like I said, it's a great translation. And it's super fun to dive into the little details, because then you notice a whole lot of stuff where they really tried to preserve as much from the original as possible, and it's awesome.
Doch ein Hurricane kam und kannte keiner
warm und er stand im Regen, tropfennass und bettelarm. Hielt den Stift an seinen Kopf, verband den Kopf mit seinem Herz, schrieb seinen ersten Vers, ein Testament für seinen Schmerz.
Okay, so what to say here? There's the same kind of repetition of the k sound. In the original, we have the hurricane came and devastation reigned. Okay. You also have the rhyme came, hurricane came, rained. So you don't just have the k repeating itself in the form of alliteration, but you also have a bit of an internal rhyme here, which is really nice, which they preserved with kam und erbarm, and also a lot of k's. They have a lot of k's here. It's like hurricane kam und kannte keiner erbarm. Yeah, nice. In the original, the second verse has that kind of a stronger alliteration, even with the drip dripping down the drain. And then put a pencil to his temple, right? At first you have the d, and then you have the t sound. So that also works super well in the original, which kind of gets a little bit lost here in the translation. I didn't really notice as much of that here. And then they have the Herz, Vers, Schmerz. The rhyme scheme is a little bit different in the original. They kind of have... So the rhyme scheme is split in the translation. At first you have the Kam, Erbarm, Bettelarm, and then Herz, Vers, Schmerz. Whereas it's the same rhyme throughout in the original. Cane, came, rain, drain, brain, refrain, pain. Which I don't think it necessarily takes that much away from the translation. I think the translation is still very nice here. Although, in terms of the meaning, verband den Kopf mit seinem Herz. He connected his head to his heart. That's kind of, it comes across a little bit strange because I don't really think Hamilton was all that about the heart, but you could look at it maybe from the point of view that that was his desire, you know, to achieve all the things for himself, for America. So he needed to put what was in his heart to his brain so that he could translate it and achieve it in real life. It takes a bit of mental gymnastics to get here, but I guess it can also work in a way, just not that obvious and maybe a little bit strange at first.
Seinen Schmerz, sein Talent sprach sich rum. Sie sagten, der Typ ist echt krank. Machten ne Kollekte und vercheckten ihn ans Festland. Du willst was bewegen, willst studieren und Respekt? Dann sag allen erstmal, wie du heißt. Wie ist dein Name, Mann?
Alexander Hamilton. Man nennt mich Alexander Hamilton.
Alright, sein Talent sprach sich rum, sie sagten, der Typ ist okay. You kind of have the S sound going through this line. In the original you have the W, well the word got around. I really like the original because the whole W sound, it sounds a little bit more, like it creates this anticipation, well the word got around, and then it goes into the, they said this kid is insane, man, and then took up a collection. So it kind of, it's more gradual. It goes from slow to S and then T. And phonetically it works better, I think, as opposed to the translation. But still, okay, you know, they try to go with the same sort of, they try to achieve the same sort of vibe, and absolutely it looks good, it sounds good. The line, dann sag allen erstmal, wie du heißt, so tell everyone what's your name, as opposed to, and the world's gonna know your name. I think the effect here is a little bit different, because in the original he doesn't even have to say his name. The world's gonna know his name through his actions, through his deeds. Okay, that's a very minor comment, but you know, context-wise, it's a little bit of a difference. And then he goes on to say Alexander Hamilton, and I like it because in the original you have Hamilton rhymed with haven't done Hamilton, and in the translation it's Hamilton vorgenommen, hab mich Millionen Dinge vorgenommen. As for the other rhymes, the sort of kind of end rhymes, they're okay. Respekt, Heisman, Hamilton, it kind of get lost there, I think, in the middle part of the verse. But okay, Krang, Festland, in the original we kind of have man, land, man again, came, name. yeah, that kind of gets lost in the translation, but not that big of a deal, I think.
Sieht mit 10 den Vater gehen, sagt dem Mistkerl danke. 2 Jahre später sind und die Mutter schwer krank und halbtot. Ihre Augen blutrot und gelblich und Alex hielt durch, doch seine Mutter tat's nicht.
So some words that don't look like they could rhyme actually do, maybe not rhyme, but they match really well phonetically, the way they sound. Schwer krank, danke, okay. Krank, dank, right? So you do kind of have the matching, you have a rhyme, actually, a proper rhyme. So in the original you have split, full of it, that, ridden, right? It, rid, split. Whereas here you kind of just have 10 gehen, dank, krank. Okay, they tried to do it in a slightly different way, and it's good, I would say. And then kind of halb tot, blutrot. Okay, sitting in their own sick, the scent thick. I kind of like the originals more. It's not a very pleasant image that is drawn before your eyes, but I kind of like that it's very graphic and very disturbing in a way, right? It's meant to be. The German one here is a little bit more tame, so it's just exactly opposite from the first verse. And then the last line is, and Alex got better, but his mother went quick. I especially like the sound of the word quick, because it does sound exactly what it means, in the same way of what it means, quick, right? It's just quick. And then you have the k in the end, it's like cut, right? And nicht does a similar thing, nicht. Und Alex hielt durch, doch seine Mutter tat's nicht. Here you have the more t sound. And it works really cool too, because it then goes all the way to the end, right? Hielt durch, doch seine Mutter tat's nicht. End.
Lebte bei einem Vetter, bis der sich dann selbst das Leben nahm. Als er von Leiden umgeben war, keinen Weg mehr sah, hört er an sich. Sorg für dich selber, verdammt, es zog sich zurück und zückte dann jedes Schriftstück aus dem Schrank.
Oh yeah, moved in with the cousin committed suicide. There's the k sound repeating itself again. In the original here we kind of have dann, nam, verdammt, in the end then Schrank. Yeah, in the last line we kind of have the z sound, the z, right, z. You have the z sound that goes into sh, but also a little bit of s in the middle here. Then keinen Weg mehr sah, hörte sich Alex, sorg für dich selber, and then zog sich zurück und zuckte. Okay. The last line in the original in this verse is very rich, I would say, because you kind of have, he started retreating and reading, every treatise on the shelf. It's really layered. I mean, you can kind of see it here, what I have, everything that I have marked. In the German version, it brings a slightly different vibe with the whole alliteration thing flowing throughout the whole line. And in any case, yeah, it sounded absolutely great. He heard himself, okay, he heard a voice saying, it's a little bit different here as well, right? Because is the voice that you're hearing your own, right? Are you hearing yourself, telling yourself, hey, keep going? Or what exactly is this voice? It's a little bit more mysterious in the original, perhaps.
Denn hätte nicht so ein Talent, wär schon seit längerem Endstation. So ein Penner, den keiner kennt, doch ohne auch nur einen Cent als Lohn 24/7. Scheffelt er mehr Cash für sein Haushand, handelt Zuckerrohr und Rum und währenddessen glaubt er jeden Band, den er in seiner Hand kriegt. Dauernd auf der Suche nach Ideen, unser Mann sticht in See. Unbeehrt geht er gerade an Bord. Sein neues Leben liegt in New York.
The only thing in terms of the meaning here that I would point out is, in the original he's standing on the bow of the ship, headed for a new land, which almost, like, if you see someone standing on the bow of the ship, it's like the whole I'm the king of the world moment, right? But in the translation it's just like he steps on board, which isn't, it's a little bit underwhelming maybe. Still the meaning is basically the same. It's just the slight little difference. And then, of course, in New York, you can be a new man, okay. Trading sugarcane around all the things he can't afford. Everything else here in terms of the meaning, I think they navigated this verse very well in, retaining the rhymes, retaining the meaning. Nothing that necessarily stands out. It's a long verse, it's a nice sounding verse phonetically. I don't have anything specific to point out here. Okay, the wartet ab, the meaning is the same, but in terms of the sound, the word or the words come across quite differently, because when you say just you wait, it has that open 8 and it's like wait for it. It creates more anticipation. The wartet's up, that up creates a little stop. That's a very nitpicky thing. It's still, when he sings it, wartet's up, and he elongates the ah, it sounds good, right? Obviously it does. But wartet's up, you just kind of, yeah. Is there anything else you could have gone with here? I don't think so. It's really hard to be smart about it, because I'm sure they've tried many different things, many different versions of that. It's just the way German works.
Alexander Hamilton, Amerikas Kindersee. Wissen Sie, was du auf dich nahmst? Wissen Sie, was du für sie tatst? Die Welt wird nie mehr wie sie war. Oh.
Okay, I love the last line. Die Welt wird niemals wie sie war, I think it was. The world will never be the same. And you have the same sound. Thank God that the world is die Welt in German. I think that makes things a lot easier. And yeah, I love that last line. It has a very similar rhyme scheme, alliteration scheme. In the beginning, wissen Sie, was du auf dich nahmst, wissen Sie, was du für sie tatst. Overcame, game, the same. The last 3 lines have this same rhyme. And in German, it doesn't look like it would rhyme, but it actually kind of does, because of the way the words are pronounced. Was du auf dich nahmst, tatst, war. Doesn't sound the same, but it actually, when you sing it, almost hear more like na, ta, va, instead of nahmst, tatst, war. And then it does kind of rhyme, right? So, very clever this, I would say.
Sein Schiff macht grad im Hafen fest, sie ziehen an den Trossen. Ein Immigrantenkind geboren in den Gossen. Sein Land hat seinen Ruf mit lauter Lügen übergossen.
Yeah, the original doesn't have a whole lot of rhyme here, but it has a lot of the I sound. The ship is in the harbor now, see if you can spot him. Another immigrant coming up from the bottom. And also him, bottom, it kind of rhymes, him, bottom. His enemies destroyed his rep America. So you have more of the I sound repetition throughout the whole verse. And in the translation, you don't have that much of that, but you have the I, Immigrantenkind geboren in den Gossen. So you have the G sound, and you have the Land hat seinen Ruf mit lauten Lügen übergossen, lauter Lügen übergossen. So you have the L, the G and the L, which achieves a similar effect. It was a nice solution, I would say. I also like the imagery of that his reputation was kind of flooded with lies. But the thing that does bother me a bit in the original is his enemies destroyed his reputation. It makes sense. But in the German version, his land destroyed his reputation. I mean, you could say it that way, but I think that's a little bit more generalized. I get it, they wanted the L for alliteration. I'm being nitpicky again, but just a little bit of a contextual difference perhaps, yeah. And then we come to the line that was actually changed. Yeah, this one really bothers me, and the old version is in this version. You'll hear it in a second.
Wir kämpften mit ihm.
Ich starb für ihn.
Ich vertraute ihm.
Ich liebte ihn.
Und ich
Hab ihn einfach erschossen.
You have the lovely ich for in, I, him, right? And then hab ihn einfach erschossen. It just comes out of nowhere. It's like, okay, where did the rhyme go? And they have the ich hab ihn einfach erschossen, but I don't think it can be strong enough because everything else that comes after this kind of blurs the fact that it is supposed to be the end rhyme. And they did change this to
Ich war sein Freund und erschoss.
which I think works a whole lot better. So it's a great thing that they did this. I don't know if they did this for any other lyrics. I don't think in this song, but for others, no idea. And yeah, like I said, the new version is definitely better in my opinion. And then you basically just have the last line. Hab mir Millionen Dinge vorgenommen, noch wartet's ab. Alexander Hamilton, and it ends. So yeah, and again, done, Hamilton, vorgenommen, Hamilton. Yeah, really cool. So that was a quick analysis of Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton song from the musical Hamilton in German. Well, that's a mouthful. Yeah, do let me know your thoughts on the version now that you've heard it. Have you heard it before? Do you know anything about Hamilton at all? Is this all new to you? Are you just here for the fancy looking Eliza? Yeah, just talk to me in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know your thoughts on the lyrics here, on the changes. And if you've seen Hamilton, do let me know what you thought about it, whether it was in German or in English. Yeah, that's that for this video. I am currently working on a few linguistic things for my channel. I've made the introduction into Tolkien's languages. I'm currently gathering information on one of those languages. And the video will probably be up next week, hopefully, we'll see. Maybe there'll be something else in between. And also I have a very special thing prepared for the end of this month or the beginning of March. Lord of the Rings themed. So definitely consider subscribing if you want to see that. And I will see you soon.